Most thrifters quit within the first year, not because they're lazy, but because the work gets real heavy real quick. Now, let me show you exactly why this model breaks people down and what you could do to avoid this from happening to you instead. Now, let's not get this confused. Thrifting is fun. I've done it before. And I do it in a different way, like for personal use, obviously. I love flea markets. I love thrift stores in general for clothing items, but not to really resell. And when I talk about thrifting, I want to be very direct. I'm not just talking about people that may look for clothes and may look for shoes and may go and try to sell them on eBay. I'm talking about people that look for products in clearance sections, at Big Lots, Targets, Walmarts, all of that. Yes, thrifters. Those are thrifters. It's a difference between a thrifter and a reseller in my book. This is my opinion. But a thrifter is somebody that is depending on someone else's inventory instead of stacking their own immediately from somewhere they know they can resupply. So it is when somebody is actually getting a product, right, that they may not actually be able to source again, but they're getting it because they found it on sale or on clearance. And this could definitely be beneficial. But if you are someone relying on it, this is when it becomes a little iffy. And of course, thrifting feels fun at first because you start to think to yourself, oh, I got this for $5, but I sold it for $50. But see, it gets tiring because you actually start having to keep finding and finding and finding. But I digress because we'll jump into that later. But it's fun. That's just bottom line. It's fun. It is something that you would definitely enjoy when it comes to trying to find a challenge. But is it scalable? No. It's not something you could actually turn into something lucrative. I mean, let's be honest. How many of you guys have thrift stores in your areas that you've seen close down? Do you know why? 9 times out of 10, it's because these thrift stores end up just going up into chaos because they can't attract one type of consumer or even two. It's a bunch of people, and when people look at the store, they don't even know what they're going in there for. You want to be that place or that store where people go in for a reason and at least have a target market. But consignment shops, thrift stores usually cater to everyone that needs them when they need them, and sometimes people don't even know what they need. So what I did was I interviewed a few of my friends in private because they didn't want to come on my channel that are thrifters, and they do Amazon FBA. And they were telling me a bunch of different reasons that they love it and hate it. And I want to share with you guys exactly what type of points they made. So number one, they were saying time is wasted sourcing. So often they would tell me stories about them having to hop from Ross to Walmart, Target, and Burlington Coat Factory and a bunch of different places. And yes, again, this can be fun at first, but then it becomes overwhelming because it seems like you're always chasing a carrot. The goalpost is always moving, and when the goalpost continues to move, so do you, so does your brain, and then you forget where you're at sometimes, and sometimes you make mistakes because you're always moving, and then boom, you lose money, you lose time, you put and maximize your effort, and then it becomes really depressing. Next is going to be inconsistent inventory, and that is obviously, relevant because as a thrifter, you get something and it's not guaranteed to come back, right? Like if you sell a great Pokemon card, it doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna have another one. If you sell this expo marker, it doesn't mean you're going to be able to see another one for that price that you just brought it. Like it's definitely very inconsistent, and this could be a big problem for people. Next, oversaturated is an understatement. I can't tell you how many times I go on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok and see people talking about how they're teaching people how to thrift. And honestly, thrifting is not that hard, and I think thrifting is something everyone can do because it's perspective. But then when it becomes research and you need to use this app type of thing, I think it becomes oversaturated because everybody's trying to get the same exact thing, which then causes problems in the space. Next, the returns. Whoa, my goodness. Let me tell you something about the returns. Now, if you're somebody out there, and I've had a few students that did this, they would thrift and then put their products on eBay. Now, they would know the dimensions of the shirts that they're selling, the shoes, and etc. But when it got returned, where do you return it to? How do you get your money back? Listen, most of the time, you don't. You don't get your money back, which then puts a huge loss on you. And I get it. Some people say, well, I don't accept refunds. But in some cases, okay, people on eBay or Mercari have to. You don't get a choice. They just literally side with the buyer and you're screwed. And that is a huge problem, which leads to the next one, burnout. Because then when you keep getting hit with different things, it's just something where you just feel like there's nowhere to turn and you get really, really upset. And I really can empathize with that. And then I do want to make this very clear. Finding a way to put these products away safely is an issue. A lot of resellers I know have storage units, but then the storage units go up. They don't just stay one price. So the expense becomes more and more the more inventory you have, or even if you don't have more and more, if you have them just sitting, the inventory price is going up. And this is a problem. And last but not least, you can't outsource because you're always on a hunt. And again, you can't hire somebody to go ahead and look for products for you because they might not have the eye you do. This is really a business that's hard to duplicate or replicate. Now, why did I choose to wholesale and to just be somebody that is a person that resells? Like, I buy wholesale from people. I resell products that I can obtain again. Well, if I'm being honest with you guys, it wasn't always that way. Like, before I even hit the internet or made my first sale or got my first store, I was somebody that was just trying to get money. And I think what I realized is I always was one person to know my main goal. I always understood what I really wanted to do, and that was grow. Like, before anything, like, oh, I want to be able to move out or move here or do that. I wanted to grow. Like, I didn't want to feel like I was always under something, because at that point I could just get a job, right? Like, if I felt like I was always under some type of pressure to find the next product, sign me up for a 9-to-5. But that really changed my perspective when I started to sell products but couldn't source them. I think it was one time on Mercari, I believe, where it was a product that was selling so well and I made a bunch of money, and then I got really upset because I had no way of sourcing it. I had no way of finding anything of the same caliber, and that was an issue. So I had to, because there was no more digging, no more juggling or trying to find a way to find the next product, right? And now I honestly resell without burnout, because the last thing I have to worry about is inventory. I have my own website, wesply.com, where resellers like you and I can get wholesale products without a business license, an EIN, or a reseller's permit. I beat that objection because I used to have to have an EIN in order to resell and buy wholesale. So yeah, everything has been really, really good. And to be honest, that's the reason why I pivoted. Now, with this all being said, I don't want to leave you guys without my own insight or my own professional suggestions, right? So what I definitely suggest for you guys is to make sure that you are getting something that is physical, a physical asset that you can obtain over and over again. Now, I'm not saying every product has to be that way, but get a charger, get some headphones, get a coffee mug, get a watch or a nail clip set, or maybe even a power bank. Get something that you know you'll be able to source once it sells. Because when you have an evergreen product, it makes your life easier, because you know that this could actually be the staple to your brand. I think really, besides not being able to find products, I think the real struggle with a lot of people is, how do you identify your brand when your brand is everything? And I think a lot of us watch these people tell you how they just made thousands of dollars on eBay, but you still don't know their brand. Like, they don't even have a brand, right? They don't even have a store. Their store is Amazon and eBay. But that's not really a store, right? That's not a brand. What is your brand? And a lot of the times they say they have a brand, most of the time it's their brand teaching you, right? But again, Wesply, which stands for WeSupply.com, is my brand. But I also have Educated Hustler, which is my brand teaching people how to make money hustling, right? So it's like having a brand that actually can stand on its own is important. So I would recommend definitely getting some type of product that can stand alone. Next, if you have to drop ship or you feel like you want to have a product that you have to thrift for, or a product that can always move, change, or grow, or I wouldn't say grow, or switch, you know what I mean? Like, cause it can't grow if it always changes. Well, then drop ship from Walmart, drop ship from Target, drop ship from big box products or big box places for big box products like Samsungs or Ray-Bans or Meta glasses. Like, do things of that nature, because, you know, like with big box stores, now I'm not talking about out of the clearance section, even though you still need to do that. That's great. But like, start actually trying to find those TVs, prime example, on Black Friday, and buying 4 of them and start selling those, and start to create a trend or a system that allows you to use your funds to not only source anything, but source things that are one with your brand, that are similar with what you sell or you want to be known for. And I think that you'll consistently see that you'll have a customer base that helps you always push products. And guys, with that is my advice, and exactly why thrifters end up disappearing. And I just don't want that to happen to you guys. And it's no hate. I love everyone that resells in any type of way. It takes a lot of mental toughness to just be able to wake up every day and search for the next thing. So don't get it twisted. I admire the hustle, but sometimes we have to continue to push ourselves because we know that better things lie ahead. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Make sure you guys comment below if you think thrifting is good or bad, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.